Hello and welcome to day one of the pawTree Pet Reset. We are very excited to have you and your pet in this challenge. So I'm Joey Lee. I'm going to be talking to you today about getting started, but also it's the day one. We want to start transitioning your dog or cat over to the pawTree food. So I'm going to be explaining that to you guys today. So, what do we want to do? Over the next couple of days, we are going to be having videos for you to watch, and it's going to be education. It's going to be fun. It's going to be lots of goodies and tips for you guys because we want to make sure that we are educating you while also helping your pet live the longest, healthiest life. You have made the best decision by jumping in and doing this pet reset for your pet. Believe me, they are going to thank you over the next 30 days. They're going to be feeling so much better. So we want to make sure that you guys are commenting in the comments below. We're going to have a question for you guys. We want you guys commenting. That is your entries in to win some prizes and some goodies because we want to definitely spoil you and your pet. All right, so that's done and out of the way. First thing we want to be talking about is transitioning your pet over to the pawTree food. Now, we do want to take this slowly because just doing just switching from one food to the other without transitioning can sometimes have some digestive upsets, and we do not want that for you. We want to make sure it's a nice, easy process. So, first thing we want to make sure we have is how much is your pet going to be feeding on or eating on the pawTree food. So we want to make sure you guys have a pawTree pet a pet profile filled out for your dog or cat. So if you haven't done that, pause the video, go log into your account, make sure you have filled out that pet profile because we really want to know how much they're going to be feeding. Next, if you already have filled one out, make sure you have downloaded the feeding guidelines. That's going to help you with transitioning over to the new food, but also it's going to tell you how much to feed, and that's the number that we really want. So we want to start doing this slowly. You want to start like a quarter of what you used to be feeding with your old food. You want to take that out and replace that with the pawTree food. We want to gradually be adding in the pawTree food over the course of 7 to 10 days and and then you gradually add in more and more of the pawTree food and less of your old food. So for about day 1 or 2, you're going to be taking out about a quarter of what you were feeding and adding in the pawTree food. Day 3 and 4, you're going to be adding in a little bit more, maybe about half, and then 3/4. And then by 7 to 10 days, you should be fully transitioned over to the pawTree food. Now, if your pet does have a sensitive stomach, you might want to drag that on a little bit longer, maybe having 3 to 4 days on just the quarter of adding that in. You can kind of play with it a little bit, but you do want to make it an easier transition. I also want to say that you don't want to go by the back of the bag. Don't go by the back of the bag on how much to feed your pet. That's going to be way too much. It's just a general feeding guideline that's on the back of bags, and it's not tailored to specifically your pet like the pawTree pet profile is. Also, with the sensitive stomach, we want to make sure that if you are adding in any supplements, you either, depending on the level of severity on the sensitive stomach, you might want to transition the food all the way over to the pawTree food and then start the supplements. If you're like, no, my dog, it's just a little bit of a sensitive stomach, it's not that big of a deal, adding in only one supplement at a time. We definitely don't want to be changing too much for your pet. Now, if your pet does have a sensitive stomach, I highly, highly, highly recommend getting the Gastro Pro Plus. That really helps to soothe the intestines and helps with the transition onto the pawTree food. Now, the pawTree food is nutritionally dense, so I don't want you to get worried if you are like, oh my goodness, I'm going to be feeding almost half the amount. That's really normal. Most pet parents that switch to pawTree, that's what they notice. They feed usually about 40% less. So if you do get diarrhea from transitioning, we definitely don't want that. Maybe start slower with the transition. And if you are fully transitioned onto the pawTree food, and if you ever get diarrhea, hopefully you don't. This is why we're doing the transition. Definitely back off on how much food you are feeding, because overfeeding can be the cause of some diarrhea and some issues. So we want to make sure you guys are coming back each day, watching the videos. I hope you guys were learning. If you guys have any questions, either get with the pet pro that invited you into the Pet Reset Challenge, or you can always comment below and we will help you guys. So thank you so much. Excited for day 2, and we'll be seeing you tomorrow.